Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Mad LiberTEA Party. My name is Paxton, and joining me, as always, is Mike in a yet
Yo,
another very bright attire. So, of course, we have our morning. What did you call it? I can never remember.
Mad Liver Coffee Breaks.
Oh, Jesus, you can't even remember. Mad Liber coffee breaks. Think that's a bit much. We're gonna have to work on that.
We're just
I'm
calling them
just
Liver Coffee Breaks.
I think the liver's too much. I don't like liver. I think
Yeah,
we
but
just
we
need to have a
liver
mad coffee
tea
break.
everything,
But
and
that's liberty. That's different. This is mad coffee break.
I think we
Bro,
should pull it. Let's pull it.
this is not a democracy. Anyway, welcome back to the show, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning and having a nice cup of coffee with us. Uh,
Yes, good morning,
Plot
everyone.
twist: this isn't actually coffee; it's just water. But already had plenty of coffee this morning, and I really shouldn't have any more.
Fucking
But
can't.
it's important to hydrate. So today we're actually going to be talking about individualism and the more specifically individualism and individualist dealing with the modern day collectivist mindset. And it's something Mike and I are like pretty consistently dealing with.
Even
Like I was,
within ourselves.
yeah. Um, because sometimes it's just the natural response. Like a lot of the time, something will happen, and uh, it's almost natural to go with the flow in some cases and just kind of accept things as they are. And it's not usually until a few moments into that you realize,
You
well,
realize what's happening.
maybe I should do some research on this. Maybe I should look into this a little bit more and that type of thing. Because at the core, that's really what the individualist mindset is just an inquisitive mindset and not accepting things
Right.
at face value. It's creating your own opinion on what you know, not what somebody is telling you to know. And if that means, and a lot of people confuse this, is if that means that you agree with the collectivist, that doesn't necessarily make you a collectivist.
A
That still,
collectivist. It just means that you considered it.
yeah, if you do your own research and you come to the same conclusion, then it is what it is. If that means that you agree with the majority, then that means you agree with the majority. There's a lot of individualists out there that will just do the opposite of whatever the group is doing, and that's not necessarily individualism. That's
Yeah,
you
and
being an
it's
annoying cunt.
in its own way, that's actually its own form of collectivism. Because you're letting the collective still decide what you're doing.
It's all about
Like the
critical thinking at
collective
the end of the day.
determines.
Yes. Yeah, it's all about critical thinking, coming up to your own conclusions based on your own reasoning and research. That's really the key principles of it all.
Yeah.
Um, One of the things that I was talking with Mike about earlier is people have this mindset of like as an individualist you can't work in a group like you just can't by definition you can't be a
Oh yeah,
collectivist
because
and an
joining a group
individualist.
makes you a collectivist, apparently.
Yeah, like I mean, both Mike and I would consider ourselves individualists, but yet we have an organization where we have similar mindsets and try to achieve similar goals and stuff. Let me assure you, it is a pain in the ass working with all of us.
Oh yeah,
Like
we've
I,
actually had some people almost quit because they're like, every member of your group is so hyper individualized, I don't know how to fucking deal with it.
it takes some getting used to, but at the end, like I mean, even Mike and I, we have I mean, just look at the backgrounds alone. Like, look at the color schemes we have going on here. That alone has caused so many fights you wouldn't believe.
Oh,
And that's not necessarily a bad thing, though. In my mind, having the individualist mindset and having two distinct opinions, or even more opinions than that, and ideas than that, is the best possible thing you can have. Because at the end of the day, the superior thing is going to rise to the surface. Whether it's a combination of the ideas and you're taking all the goods and discarding all the bads as best as possible, or maybe there is just literally a superior idea that has less faults than the other ideas that are being presented. One way or another, you're going to come up with superior results.
yeah.
At the end of the day, as much infighting as there might be and discussion as there might be, there's never a day that I'm like just I don't understand the process, that I don't understand what's happening. Sometimes it's frustrating for sure,
Oh
and
yeah.
sometimes I just want to be like, no,
There's a
no,
lot of
that's
yelling.
that's too that's one color too many, and that's the end of it. And usually
There's
we
so
have to
many.
find a middle ground. Like instead of 16 colors, we might have 15 colors instead of 16.
Poor Paxton.
Yeah. Um, but yeah,
But it's true. Like it requires compromise, and it can be very frustrating working in a group of individuals. But the thing is, like, um, just because you're part of a group, just because you decide to be part of a group as an individual doesn't make you part of that collective. But it can. We have to be careful. We have to be vigilant because you can get comfortable in a situation and then just, out of comfort and familiarity, fall into that mindset with that group. Like, I've had groups that I was part of in the past because I really liked their ideals and stuff go south, and they no longer did the things that I joined them to do. They no longer stood for the same things that they stood for when I joined them. And as sad as that is, you have to be willing to let go.
mhm. I mean,
Otherwise, your individual ideals will be overshadowed by the collective that you no longer agree with.
one of my favorite people that's been on our show a couple of times, Delvani, to me is a good example of this because she will always, like, I just remember this particular instance where she had been a part of our group for a long time and we were making a plan for something, and she was like, well, that sounds great and everything, I'm going to go do more research on the thing and then I'll come back to you whenever I've made my decision, type of deal. And I think that's kind of, principal example of the individualist mindset. Even though she's a friend of ours, even though we agree with a lot of the things, as far as like our ideals and stuff like that goes, she still decided to just take a step back and come to her own conclusions on the things.
Conclusions.
Even
Yeah,
if that means that she comes to the same conclusion, I think it's very important that we all go through the proper steps of, deciding on what is best for ourselves with individualist thought. But
absolutely.
yeah.
And it can be really hard. Like, when you're an individualist, sometimes you can just get really used to going with the flow if you agree with it too long.
Hmm.
Like, I start getting paranoid when I'm in a group that I always agree with, not because I feel like the group is bad, mind you. I just immediately start becoming more skeptical because I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And I didn't used to do that, and I paid I paid some prices, met some consequences. Um, the thing is though, like, where do you, like, when we're individuals looking at a group, you know, there's a line between common sense, making a common sense judgment based off of what you already know about some group that somebody's in, and forcing other people into a collective that may or may not be what they're actually part of. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
say, I guess saying all Antifa are commies, or saying all Boogaloo boys are dangerous extremists, or all Proud Boys are white supremacists. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, where like, I always have a hard time trying to find that line. Like, where does it cross over? Where do I go? Okay, well, this group is now a white supremacist group or whatever. Like, for me, it's got to be at least the majority.
But the question is, what exactly is the majority? I don't think there's exact numbers on, say, the Boog organization.
There's not exact numbers on any of those groups.
Yeah. No,
It's
I
like
think.
what we were talking about yesterday. Yeah, there are a lot of bad Christians, but I don't necessarily, like, a little bit of hypocrisy there. Going back to yesterday was, like I was saying, there are a lot of bad Christians, but you're saying you don't consider them Christians, and I'm saying I don't consider them good Christians. So, like,
Well,
we're basically saying the same thing, but we're giving the benefit of the doubt to the minority.
I think it's kind of a good example, actually, is Antifa. You don't consider them a bad organization. I do consider them a bad organization.
I don't consider them an organization
Exactly. This is my point. We've
because they're
both
not
done
one.
this is. Do you see what I'm dealing with? We've both done research, and we've both come to different conclusions on it. Antifa is not a positive group. They are a group. Rather, they do the same thing that the Boog people do. They say that they are just an ideal, so they don't get listed as an organization, so they don't
That
have
is
organization.
not true.
That
There
is
are
exactly
lots
what
of
they do.
groups that claim to be Antifa that will
So there are
regularly
groups
speak
that
out
are
against the
Antifa.
stuff that they don't fucking like. Well, any group can call itself Antifa. We could call
Correct.
ourselves Antifa, and we wouldn't be part of the organization. There is no fucking organization.
Then why are all of these Antifa groups all at the protests, all doing the same shit? Where there
That's
is
the thing.
Antifa, there
They're
is
not
violence. We're
all
seeing
doing
that even
anything. The thing
where
is,
there.
we're only
Do you
see the
want me to
only
let? Do you want me to have the fucking point, or do you want to keep talking over me, Mike?
all right,
Because we can
fine.
do that.
Say it.
Everywhere that there is Antifa, there is violence. There is attacks on private property specifically. They inspire these riots across the fucking nation, and it's all Antifa. There are no boo groups going to these organizations doing this. There are no
I'm not saying there are.
there are no other organizations that are doing this. They all consider themselves Antifa. Whether they all have the same ideals or not, they're all calling themselves the same thing. That's the important part. And this is exactly what I mean, though. You have your ideas about what Antifa is. I have my ideas what Antifa is. I do not think that they're a positive group. The whole deal here is that as far as the public display of Antifa is going, as far as their PR is going across the nation, you look at whatever the fuck you want to look at, they're a bad negative group that's causing more damages and harm than they're doing good.
The reason why I say what you're saying is incorrect is because the only thing that we see of Antifa are what's happening in the major hot zones, in the major cities, and it's exactly what the media is showing us. And a lot of times it's the same footage again and again and again.
We're having our own
Um,
people researching them and
yeah,
getting
and
bullied by
we're
them.
finding no, that was not Antifa. That was BLM.
What's the
That
difference?
was that was BLM, a group with the actual BLM organization, not the movement. And that was the second point I was going to make was you're incorrect. It is not only Antifa that is causing violence. There's a lot of BLM and like there are Threeper MAGA groups that are just like coming to protests and plowing trucks into people and shit like that, getting out and starting fights and things like that. So like
I don't believe that they're
no,
starting that.
all of the violent the guy just driving into a fucking crowd of people and then jumping out and fighting everybody didn't start it.
They're the only times that has ever happened has been when there's riots in those towns for multiple days at a time. Never has there been just a peaceful protest where
It just
there was
happened
a
the
guy
other day
driving
in the
through a
middle
truck
of. No, it just happened the other day in San Diego.
and there wasn't riots in that
It was
town prior.
peaceful. It was
Prior to
peaceful. They were
that,
not. Well, there have been riots in every town.
exactly. That's what I fucking mean. People are tired of the riots caused by Antifa, caused by Black Lives Matter. So of course violence is going to go there because the police aren't going to do anything and the state
Most of
isn't
these
going to do
riots are
anything.
caused by police violence upon the people, not Antifa, actually. Like, if you go back and
The
watch the
fuck
videos of
do
the
you
starts of
mean?
all of, if you go
Most
back and
these
watch
people
the
are protesting
videos
post office
of,
and shit.
if you go
They don't
back
know
and
what the
watch
fuck they're angry about.
if
They're
you go
just
back and
angry.
watch the videos of the starts of when everything starts to get spicy and shit, it's usually bullshit.
99% of these fucking riots, they have no idea what the fuck they're actually protesting.
Well, that's because most of them are fucking sleepers. They're not part of any fucking group. They aren't part of any political ideology because they don't even fucking know what they are.
But they call themselves Antifa.
No, most of them don't. That's the thing. The media is calling them that. Like, as soon as they see someone being fucking violent, they go, Antifa's being violent. They don't even have a way of explaining how they know those people are Antifa. When you ask, they shut you down.
I
That's
do
why I
not
think
believe
there's a
that
bunch
at
of
all.
fucking and the
I
thing
think there's
is the
video
fact
after
that
video after video that proves that.
well they've been fucking gathering stuff since for much longer on Antifa and the Proud Boys. And the truth is, like, I think that it's one of the fucking hypocrisies we're falling into. I think that we're all too fucking easy. The left wing anarchists are far too easy to take information on the Boog and the Proud Boys and all that shit and just take it hand to mouth. And the right wing anarchists are far too easy to take just what the media tells them about Antifa and BLM and the BLM movement and just take it hand to mouth. Now, I'm gonna fucking say a lot of the shit with BLM, the organization, they fucking come out and confirmed it themselves. So I'm not even talking about that shit. But like the fact is that like we're because it's talking about somebody else and it's pointing them against us, it makes it really easy for us to just buy into it. And because there are people out there who are claiming all of these groups and doing bad things in their names, people are getting a bad taste in their mouths for all of them. And I mean, I don't understand why each and every fucking group out there can say and see that the media is doing it to them and the groups that are more aligned to their side, but not fucking realize that they're also doing it to the other side because their major point is to keep us divided and fighting each other.
I think the main difference is that Antifa is not just strictly anti-government. They're anti a particular ideology. That means that they have a counter to that ideology. The
Yeah, it's called
Boogs,
fascism.
yeah, they're anti-fascism. What is a counter to fascism? It's communism. That is what they are pushing. If you talk to an anti-fascist, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be a socialist or communist.
No, like I'd say about
100,
50-50.
no,
Because I
not
meet
fucking
Antifa.
even.
No, dude, I go out and talk to like droves of leftists all the fucking time trying to fucking get a better fucking idea of what's going on out
A
there. But
leftist
it's
is
about
what, by
50-50.
definition?
I'm talking about like anarchists and libertarians and like low
We have
ball
one on our
lefties.
show. He considers himself Antifa, but he is also a socialist, is he not?
Yeah, but he's not like the guy
He's
fucking
the
down the street
vast
that I know.
majority.
Nah, like I
What you
think it's
know is
about
the
50-50.
exceptions to the rules. They are not the rules themselves, Mike. You're using these
Well,
personal
we've
examples.
completely derailed from the show, but
No, this is individualism versus collectivism.
well, I
That
think
you're
that
using.
collectivism sucks, but I think that just taking what the media tells us and saying that's the majority of something is stupid because we know that that's not true in every other fucking instance. So why would we just believe it's true in this one, especially when we have all these different examples of it not being?
Because the Antifa people aren't out there protesting gun laws, are they? They're there to cause violence, to throw fucking, to cause
Sometimes
riots.
they are. Like there was Antifa group, there were several Antifa groups that were gonna join the Virginia gun protest, and in the end, like one or two of them actually did show up, and like
One
they
or
do
two.
show up to
So on
do
an
things like
individualist
that.
level, it's almost like the collectivist
No,
mindset, though.
groups, not one or two people, one or two groups
In
showed
Virginia,
up. Yeah, I remember when I was telling you about it while it was going on.
I remember one or two people that considered
No,
themselves Antifa there. I don't remember groups.
no, I had photos. I showed you.
Nah, I don't remember groups. I remember you showing me individuals that claimed that they were Antifa that were there.
I don't remember the individuals at all.
Okay, so the point being is
Either
Mike
way,
has a vastly different opinion about Antifa than what I do and what a lot of other people in our organization do, and you can keep defending them all you want. I don't think they're a good group, and that's
I'm not
I don't think we're.
defending them. I'm telling you that we should watch them as individuals. Like if you're in fucking Los Angeles, you deal with Los Angeles Antifa because they're going to be one way. But if you're in like say Arkansas, deal with the Antifa here the way that they should be dealt with because they're not an organization. They're different no matter where the fuck you go. We don't have fucking violent Antifa fucking causing riots out here. We did
Why
have
is
them at
the
the
Boog all the
protests and
same?
shit because
We
it's
have
not
Boog people
because
all
it's
over
not the
this.
same.
It is. We have
It's
principles.
not the same.
We have principles, do we not? Do we
You
not have a
can't
code?
you can't you can't fucking compare Antifa to the Boog because they're not the same at all.
Then why do we really give a fuck about them? If they're not fighting the same fight, then why do we really give a fuck? All I'm
Well,
saying is that
are
they're
you not
causing
fighting
more harm
against
against.
fascism?
Are you really going to use their own argument? I don't think they're
Well,
fighting against fascism. They're fighting against their brand of fascism. They want their own
some of them
rules.
are really fucking misguided and stupid. And they're fucking fighting against what they think is fascism. You're right. But like mostly the older ones are not like that. Like they know they're fucking
It's a
jaded,
dying
but they know.
generation then.
Like the motherfucker that was actually like
What you have is a large
the
amount of
ones that
young
are
people that
fighting
are indoctrinated
ICE
by
and
their
the
colleges
DHS
that are taught
and
Donald Trump is a fascist and therefore they need to overthrow him by any means necessary. And what are they taught throughout this college ideology?
oh god, no, those are
Socialism.
the worst. I'm not talking about them. Fuck
But
those
that's
guys.
the
Like
new generations that
those are
you're
the ones
talking
that the
about.
media is showing everybody all the goddamn time and shoving our face in it. So that's all we think Antifa is.
And the older generations, a dying generation, is not going to be
Hey,
able to
fuck
control
you.
that.
They're like my age. We are not dying. We've got many years ahead of us. We're the ones that are going
You and
into
I both know we
politics
don't have
right
many years
now.
ahead of us. I don't know what you mean.
Well, okay. Theoretically, we should have many years ahead of us. We're the ones that are actually going into politics now. So, technically, you're wrong on that account.
No, I don't think
Like
so. Because
y'all
they're
are the
not
young
taking the
ones. You're
young.
up, you're coming, but you're
They're
not up
not
yet.
taking the young. They are fighting the fight for so fucking long, and this entire time, what is happening is they're getting indoctrinated by these colleges, getting leftist ideals, and then these people are joining Antifa because they think they're anti-fascist.
Yeah, like it's definitely being infiltrated by like some fucking crazy violent communists. And we have to keep an eye on that. But like that's where we have to deal with the hypocrisies and shit because like we're running around going, "Hey, that's not real capitalism," and making fun of people who say that's not real socialism. Well, I'm not, but I see people doing it. And then there's people like running around being like, "Well, left anarchists aren't real anarchists and right anarchists aren't real anarchists and all this other fucking shit. Like anybody has any right to fucking say who gets to like who's an anarchist so long as they're not fucking trying to use
That's my whole
force on each
problem,
other."
though, is these people aren't anarchist. They're not anti-state. They're anti the current state. They want their rules, not the rules that are in place. They don't want to get rid of fascism. They want their fascism.
Yeah, that's that 50%. Like, I was like, it's about 50-50 because, like, basically, when I meet Antifa people, it's about 50-50. We're going to fight or we're going to be friends.
So I think that's the disagreement there. I think it's way more in favor of
Well, maybe
the
it's because
socialists.
I'm more progressive socially.
Who knows? All I know is you're brightly colored and it hurts my eyes.
You're not brightly colored, and I find it boring. Mm. Best of friends.
But yeah, I mean, this
But the
boils
truth
down to the
is,
point is Mike and I, we're in a group, an organization, we work together all the time, but we do have a lot of disagreements. We've done
oh,
our
fuck
individual
yeah.
research, and even we can look at the same information. It's kind of like the dress deal, that infamous dress where people were like, no, it's
Oh,
gold and
the
white,
the
or it's
blue
blue
and
and black.
whatever, that one. Oh,
We can
God.
look at the same information and still come up with different conclusions on things. And that's just part of the individualist mindset. At the end of the day, we still are able to come to some kind of middle ground and move forward on it, or else we wouldn't be here making videos together.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing. One thing that we try to teach to our other members is the other day, if you watched our show, we had a good 10-minute debate, we'll call it, between our often visitor Maxwell with our pocket or token communist. At least that's what I'll call him. I don't care.
He's who? Wait. Who's the token lefty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have to explain to Maxwell that
This
that's
isn't
not the
debate
fight.
hour.
Yeah, this like we already know we disagree with him on the economics of things. We need to move on, and you'll see me acknowledge that I disagree with what he said, but I move on because we can have that discussion after we're done fighting the
If it even fucking matters anymore.
authoritarians. Yeah. Um, and that kind of goes back to my point. I wouldn't have any issue with Antifa at all if I didn't think that there was, like, I don't care about the economics
Well, yeah,
policies
there's a
behind it.
lot
I
of
care
them that
that
would.
they want to install their form of fascism. That is the problem I have.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, like 50-50. That's a lot.
Yeah,
Like that's me flipping a coin every time I walk up to one of these people. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
That's not actually that much. And so like like a good chunk of these motherfuckers would bash you and say you were a fash, or me too. In
yeah,
fact, I know I've had to like throw down before. It's not a big deal. Like, but the truth is that like you have to, you don't know though. Like you could be making an ally. That's why I choose to flip the coin. And it plays into the fucking hypocrisy that we started talking about to begin with, is that like I see a lot of liberty-minded people out there acting like their way is the only way, and that it's gonna have to be their way or the highway. And to be honest, I'm kind of like, yeah, buddy, how are you gonna fucking enforce that? Because the day
yeah,
you start using that kind of mindset, you start thinking about how you can enforce it, and you get, the disgrace on the face of libertarianism that is like the moronic Hoppians. Like he may not have meant that. I don't fucking know. I haven't spent a whole lot of time paying too much attention to it. But the people who take away from that, like, they're a blight on liberty. I'm not gonna lie. They're basically fucking force using racists that don't want to call themselves that. And you can
yeah.
fucking clip that shit. Clip it and fucking share it. Hey Jim.
Hi, Jim.
Good morning. I'm like all serious. Rah rah rah. Hi Jim.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, we get ourselves into all sorts of fucking traps all the goddamn time if you're lazy. And I think
Yeah.
that plays into the shit, like my dad always said, you have to be constantly vigilant. I didn't realize he meant over yourself, too. I'm not even sure if he fucking realized that. But you do, because, like, holy shit, we humans are lazy and we develop bad habits so easy.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe it's just me. I don't know. I develop bad habits super fucking easy. Like, I can turn into a total fucking, like, just ragamuffin over, like, a period of maybe 6 hours if I let myself go.
That's a good way of putting it. Yes.
I don't think he even knows what that's like. He's like a stoicist, and they're all super, like, you
Oh
know.
fuck.
You know.
Yeah, I'm sure they
Hey,
know.
Jim, I could use a few more traps to get inside of. If you know anyone, have them call me.
Okay, on that note, thank you all for watching our show. If you liked the video for today, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe. Share this around with your friends. You can watch Mike and I yell out about Antifa.
Yeah, I should go change the fucking topic and be like, this is what we're talking, and just like interrupt the mid word with like all caps. Debate about Antifa.
And might as well. But yeah, please support the show by checking out our coin tree. We have all the different links to all kinds of money and stuff. Buy us some coffee. Every dollar that we get goes directly back into the show and helping us make the show as good as we possibly can. Um, and yeah, right now Mike and I are doing everything directly out of pocket, so every little bit definitely helps and goes a long way. With the subscribe star, I believe the lowest denomination is going to be $5 if I recall correctly. And I believe is it $10 that you actually get on the thank you list?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you have $10 a month to us, we'll add you to the thank you list. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. We will see you guys tomorrow, and I think we're talking about Jordan Peterson tomorrow.
Yes, because he's back and
We're very
we
excited. I cleaned
are
my
very
room in excitement.
excited about it. Yeah, I guess. I mean, like, I don't really watch him as much as I used to,
Well,
but it's really nice to see that he went through what he did and came back and he's talking and shit. So we're gonna chat about our past with Jordan Peterson's stuff. and things like that.
That's
It'll
what
be
made us
fun.
radical alt-right extremists.
Yeah, that's how we became radical alt-right extremists. Exactly. And I'm a misogynist too and shit.
Yep.
Oh,
You're very privileged.
misogynist gender traitor.
Yep. All right. Thank you guys very much for watching. We will see you tomorrow morning. You guys have a good day.
Be safe.